Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to Look Back. This is where I take a look at reviews that we did a year, 5 years, and 10 years ago, and tell you what I think about those games right now. So let's jump back first to a year ago. So first of all, we had Legendary Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, I like the Legendary Marvel series a lot. This set I did not like for a couple reasons. One, they added in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Legendary Spider-Man, which I love, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but this doesn't match the other cards in the game at all. And since this is just an expansion, you need to use it with the other ones, and the mix doesn't work well. But also, they simply just, they really stretch to get, they have two villains in this set, and they're the same guy. They have Spider-Man and Peter Parker. It's a mess. I didn't like this one. Space Freaks. This is a game that was okay. You run around a board and you're shooting at each other. It feels like a game that was designed in the 80s, honestly, and it looks like that too. It's okay. Then we have, let's go see, we have Hot Shots. So Hot Shots is a game about putting out fires as fires spread across the board and you're going around. It's a nice little cooperative game, really cool little fire pieces. Then we have Indian Summer. This is one of the Uwe Rosenberg's tile-laying games. This is probably the prettiest one for sure. As you place down these fall leaves and trying to get things, it's essentially a race. You can get caught up in trying to do cool things, but you're just trying to fill your board first. Good game. King of Tokyo King Kong. This is the third monkey that's in the King of Tokyo universe, but this is the big one that everyone knows about, King Kong. I especially like the Empire State Building being included with the game, or the Tokyo Tower that you can climb. I will use those most of the time in any King of Tokyo game that I'm playing. Codenames Disney. This is a variant of Codenames with Disney, which is great because almost everyone knows Disney. Works well with kids and with adults. And they have a very basic game in here and then the normal game of Codenames, which I thought was good. And it's a really good set, honestly. Rum and Bones expansions. I took a look at some of the new factions for Rum and Bones. And of course, I really like Rum and Bones, so I like these sets a lot. Then I took a look at Zendo. This was the new set of Zendo from Looney Labs. Now, Zendo is a fantastic deduction game, one that I'm always promoting to people everywhere, where you are basically building a little thing and trying people to guess what the rule is. The rule might be all blue pieces are laying down. Whatever the rule is, people have to figure it out using logic. Really great game. And then finally, I took a look at the next three exit games a year ago. I rated them a 6, 8, and 9 respectively. The 9 was Forbidden Castle. That's my favorite, or one of my favorites of the bunch. All right, let's jump back 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I played a game called Banco. Really weird name for a little card game. A little more confusing, I think, than it should have been, but it certainly is bright and colorful, so there's that. Glass Road. It's weird to think this came out 5 years ago, and Uwe Rosenberg, not one of his big grandiose games like Agricola or one of his small games like Bonanza. This game was, I wouldn't say in the middle of the road, it was still a little bit higher, but just going around and getting resources and building things, it was okay. I like some of the ideas in Glass Road. It just didn't grab me as much as other games. Dungeon Heroes, it was it's like an abstract, asymmetrical game where one person's playing the heroes and another person's playing the monsters. And there's also a nice expansion for it. It's an interesting game, but I honestly haven't thought about it in 5 years though either. Schmotzpots. This game here is for kids. It's a Hobbit game where you're pulling these beaks out of the ground and trying to find worms. It works well for kids. And then Level 7 Omega Protocol. Now you might note that this is seemingly a pretty big drop, and it is in a sense. I still really like the game. I still think the game's great. I have a painted copy of the game in the Dice Tower library. There's some neat things. It's just that so many of these dungeon crawls have come out now that it's been diluted. This one's still cool. It's a Space Marine game where you go through, and the Overlord adrenaline system works really well. I just don't play it as often as I once did, and like I said, there's so many of these choices out there that this one can't be as high as it once was. Finally, 10 years ago, we have the Living Labyrinth. This is a game where you're putting down tiles and trying to form a labyrinth to get out. Blood. There's a lot of these games, and this one doesn't look that great. The Growl Family, another little kids game about bears coming, and a little bit of a memory. Great game for kids. Captain Clueless. Now, this is a very interesting game. If you've never played this one, you are essentially drawing on a board, but you can't see. and everyone else is trying to give you help as to where to go or not. I like the concept of it. It's a lot of fun. And yes, you do look like Captain Clueless. And finally, Sorry Sliders. This one has gone up for me. I know there was a Cars version of this based on the Cars movie that I never played, but the original one is still one that gets pulled out even now. As you slide the pieces down, it's like a poor man's dexterity game because it is fairly inexpensive, but it is a lot of fun. So that's Sorry Sliders. Those are the reviews I did 1, 5, and 10 years ago. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. This is Look Back on the Dice Tower.